Okay, we're at 11 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Mark Baker, and I'm the channel manager or a channel manager with Sangoma. In my current role, I'm more specifically focused on our cloud products, but this presentation will be more general, covering both on-premise and cloud-based Switchvox solutions, as well as some other products that can be paired with it to enhance functionality. I've worked with many school districts over the last few years in private schools and that type of thing too, to successfully deploy communication systems that meet their technical requirements, budget, and time frame. And I'm excited to share with you what we've learned and how our products might be helpful to you. So just a quick overview of how we'll be spending our time today. I'm going to show a few PowerPoint slides describing common challenges for schools, give some background on Sangoma technologies, as well as do an in-depth look at how our Switchvox solution solves those challenges that schools face. I'm also going to share my screen to show you some end-user features like the desktop softphone and another feature we call the switchboard, as well as the end-user and admin portals. That way we cover features that are important to end users, as well as a back-end look at the system for any admins that might be out there today also. So moving on to our first slide, let's talk about challenges that we've seen for schools. So safety, limited or restricted budget, overwhelming call volume, antiquated communications options, limited communications with parents, complex administration, and then also third-party integrations. These are all very common challenges that we see. Maybe some of these sound familiar to you. And when I first start discussing a communications project with a new education customer, at least one of these is going to invariably come up, and more than often, it's more than one of these that are currently an issue they're looking to solve. So our product suite can provide a solution for each of these challenges, and throughout the presentation today, I'm going to show you how. So before we dive deep into that, I want to give you a quick overview of Sangoma technologies, because we do have a lot of different products that we offer, and everything kind of works together to solve those issues. So wanted to have a better understanding of who we are, where we came from, and how we can help. So at a high level, Sangoma is a global communications company with customers in over 150 countries and over 35 million endpoints or phones deployed worldwide. As you can see from my diagram here, we have a lot of products in our portfolio, all related to communications. Today, we're mainly going to be focusing on Switchvox, as it is the anchor point from which many of these other products can be branched off to develop a full unified communications system. So what is Switchvox? Switchvox is an asterisk-based unified communications software that has enterprise-grade features, is extremely easy to use, and is the best value in the industry, built for you by the asterisk experts. And you might be asking, what is asterisk? I see it over here on the open source side, and what makes Sangoma the asterisk experts? So asterisk is actually the most used open source voice over IP software in the world. Actually, 90% of commercial voice over IP phone systems available today are based on asterisk, and that means that most of our competition is using this same asterisk engine to power their software. So why are we the experts? Asterisk was actually the brainchild of Mark Spencer, one of the founders of a company that's now part of Sangoma. That company was called Digium. And in the late 1990s, Mark was starting up a company when he ran into a common issue that many organizations still face today, and that was expensive phone service. So Mark had the brilliant idea to try to code a way to deliver phone calls over the internet instead of paying $50, $60 or more per month per line of phone service. And over time, this really revolutionized the industry and became what it is today, so popular as a commercialized product. And it was just extremely widespread, and many legacy phone companies have since gone extinct, basically because of asterisk and what it did for communications. So where Switchvox comes into play is Mark decided, well, why, I've got this great code, and there's other folks commercializing it. Why can't we commercialize it as well? And you can have a commercial version of Asterisk, and that's exactly what Switchvox is, bringing in all these enterprise level features that modern organizations need at a very competitive price. So one thing I want to note here today too is this third bullet point. Switchvox is available as an on-premise based solution or as a cloud-based service. If you're doing on-premise Switchvox, you can also deploy it in VMware or Hyper-V. We do have purpose-built appliances as well that you can deploy Switchvox in, just depending on your design. So no matter if your school prefers an operating expense to deploy a cloud-based solution where you have a bill every month, or a capital expenditure and you want to deploy a premise-based solution, we've got you covered. Another cool note with this, and this is very unique in our industry, is that you can actually move your configuration from premise to cloud or vice versa, which is very unique. So you're not locked into one or the other for the rest of the time that you're going to have the system. If you wanted to start with premise and then later, operating expense becomes a better solution for you, you can move your configuration over there seamlessly. So pointing back to this diagram one more time here, as you can see, everything from this Asterisk core all the way through gateway type appliances to allow you to connect to PRI or POTS lines, legacy phone connectivity, a custom API development platform that we have here. We do have phones and headsets, modern voice over IP dial tone via SIP trunking. We call it SIP station. We also have a faxing solution here too. And then the Switchvox product that we're focused on here today under the full UC solution. And then even into newer products that we've released called Sangoma Meet, which is a video meetings as a service. This ties together with Switchvox. We even have access control too, so you can control any locks and doors and that type of thing to your buildings. So all of this ties together under a single roof here under Sangoma, all supported by the same folks. So it's going to be beneficial to you guys. You don't have to go between vendors for support for a specific product. So let's move on and cover why Switchvox, what makes us such a good fit for education. How are we different than the competition? Well, first of all, I wanted to point out that education is our biggest industry. Switchvox can scale from small private kindergartens with 8 or 10 users all the way into the university level with thousands of users. And because education is our biggest industry, we're highly focused on ensuring that the features that we deliver are extremely helpful to the education use case. So what are those things that education schools require, and how can we fit those? So one of the things is that we can shrink your budget, your telecom costs with our platform, and we'll be discussing this a lot more actually on the very next slide. We can improve efficiencies for your staff. We can add security and safety inside and outside of the classroom. We can deliver modern features that you might not know that you need if you're on a legacy system, and our platform is future-proof as well. So let's start with shrinking budget. One differentiator for us is that we include all features for every user. And generally speaking, we've found that schools have vastly different feature requirements from user to user to complete their day-to-day duties. So a teacher, for example, may generally just need to receive announcements over, a paging system or pages on their phones, but might not spend a whole lot of time on the phone otherwise. Maybe they need voicemail, that type of thing. Whereas the admin office might be fielding a lot of phone calls from parents and transferring calls around throughout the day. So totally different use cases between those folks. Because of that, our all features included model allows us to help schools save money versus our competition. Generally speaking, the competition or our competition requires expensive tiered packages to get access to most of the features that you see here on this page. Some of them actually can be very tricky with their pricing too. I've seen a basic feature like voicemail left off of a quote from a competitor, and then later, once the school was drawn in kind of a bait and switch way, they decided to say, oh yeah, you need voicemail? Oh, sorry, we forgot about that. That's going to be a $10,000 module. We never do anything like that. There's no bait and switch pricing because of this all features included model, and we're fully transparent with this. Now, on this same page, we have a few of the other reasons why schools choose us kind of displayed. It's not totally obvious, but I'm going to go through those as well. So what else could all features included do? Well, for one, it future-proofs your Switchvox system. We're constantly creating new features and updates, such as our soft phone and desktop soft phone that I'll be showing you later. And any of our current customers that are using Switchvox, they've had the luxury of having those new features be made available to them without having to pay extra for that. So that's a drastic change for most of our education customers. And just imagine not having to pay for all these brand new features that might be useful, especially in the last year or two with more remote learning. A lot of these features were really, really helpful to our current customers, and you would just get those included as the system grows, as we put more engineering work into the system and produce new features. So what other problems can this all features included model solve? This can also help improve efficiencies of your staff without being expensive, right? So if you scan through everything on this page, you can think a little bit differently about how different people might use the system. So somebody on the admin side might be more inclined to use the switchboard, needing to see who is on and off of a phone call, whereas maybe somebody in IT that has to bounce between different locations, different buildings, might need access to an application on their cell phone that allows them to stay connected to the phone system no matter where they are. So with this solution, everybody can have access to all of these features and use them in different ways. So you can set up that IT staff or that admin staff to have access to the features that you want and block the features that you don't want them to have. Even just general phone system things like having automated attendance in different hours that plays. Like a message that says, hi, the school is closed today due to inclement weather, that you can turn on the fly, or just something more general like our business hours are 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. You press 1 for administration, press 2 for a dial by name directory. That type of thing is included with IVRs, interactive voice response. You can have as many of these as you want. When people press those numbers, they can be dropped into queues or ring groups where multiple people have the opportunity to answer that call, and you can design it however you want without any limitations of having to pay extra. And that's something that you'll see with our competition. They charge for each of these. So I want to make one more important note here on this page before we move on, and that's going to be this integration section here, because we talked about safety and security and how important that is to schools these days. So we do have an API that allows you to integrate with other platforms that can help improve your school's security. One example is a platform called QuickAlert that I've deployed many times in the past in conjunction with Switchvox. And this can push out mass text notifications easily so that no matter what the situation is, everybody is notified of exactly what's going on. And there's a lot of other cool stuff that can be done with QuickAlert as well. Of course, our solution is compliant with Kerry's law as well too. So you know exactly where all of the phones are in the system. And if somebody places a emergency phone call, a 911 call or something like that, administrators can get notifications in their email where that phone call came from so that you can push those people out to where they need to go. Other integrations that we have with Outlook and Google Chrome and Firefox allow you to do cool things like click to dial. Maybe you're just doing something as simple as ordering lunch and you go to a website, you just want to click on that phone number there. You can actually click on it and it will dial through the Switchvox system for you. So lots of cool stuff that we can do there as well. So I will show a lot of these live, so I don't want to spend too much more time here, but I did want to have a slide that showed some of the main features that our customers say are important to them in their day-to-day communications. So let's move on to another differentiator here. And again, I think we'll get to see this live later on when we get to the admin side, but ease of use is huge for Switchvox. We really believe that Switchvox is the easiest to use in the industry that we're in, and our platform makes it simple for customers to transition over from a legacy system just because it is so easy to use. We hear this all the time from new customers that more than anything, the ease of use of the platform was a huge time saver for them in making that switch over, and it just made them more efficient than ever before because of all those great features that we just showed you. So with ease of use, we have the intuitive admin portal, but we also have very intuitive end user features like the Softphone that I'll show you later, the Switchboard. We also have contextual help throughout that admin portal, that little question marks next to virtually everything that give you a brief overview of exactly what you're looking at and give you links to other features. We have free online training from basic end user level, how to place a phone call on your desk phone, all the way up through more advanced stuff. Of course, troubleshooting. If you have a phone that's having issues with connecting, you can figure out why exactly that might be. And then even soft phone provisioning is super simple. You create a soft phone for a user in the system, and then it sends out an email to that user and it says, hey, download the soft phone, and it links all together just like that. So it's super, super easy to use. So let's get into another reason why customers choose us in the education space, and that's our phones. So before I get into the details of these phones, you should know that Switchvox is not a proprietary system. If you have your own phones, you can bring them. But just know that our phones, which are also SIP standards based, so you could use them with other SIP platforms too, are going to be the most integrated with our platform. You're going to get the best level of support because they're our phones, right? So we can deliver the best support for them. So really popular in the education space is the new P series that we have, the P310 and P315 value-based phones. These are going to be great for teachers or just kind of hallway phones, wherever you need to deploy something that isn't going to get used a whole lot, or maybe could be subject to breaking, falling off the wall, or something like that. You don't want a lot of money tied up into it. So these phones are available in two configurations: the 10100 pass-through, and the 315 gives you gigabit pass-through there. So if you need to daisy chain the phone together with a computer, you can pass through high-speed internet or 100 megabytes per second. You have the choice there. And you get a lot of the features that most folks are looking for, like messages, hold, redial, transfer keys, all of that. And these start at a very affordable $68 per unit. Going up into the D-series phones here, our higher level phones are a bit more expensive. They have larger color screens and more features like visual voicemail and other phone apps that the P-series doesn't offer. But we have an entry-level phone in the back here, the D60 and 62. The only difference between those models are, like the 310 and 315, you've got the 100 base Ethernet here on the D60, pass through 2 LAN ports. And then on the D62, you have gigabit pass-through. So a little bit more expensive for that D62 model, but otherwise the same. In the foreground, you have our D65 mid-level phone, which is also gigabit. Anything above the 62 is going to be gigabit. And it's physically the same size as the 60 and 62, but gives you additional busy lamp field keys that allow you to scroll through. You can see up to 100 contacts by scrolling through these pages. It's also Bluetooth compatible. These phones over here are not, although you can use EHS headsets with any of our phones. And then if you look over on the right-hand side, you can see we have things like visual voicemail, which I mentioned before, and the ability to even screen your voicemail before you answer it. So kind of a throwback to the old answering machines of days gone by there. So if a phone call comes in, you can see who that is and then actually listen to what they're saying in that voicemail before you pick it up. So cool little features that you get here with the D65. Should mention here too, if it wasn't clear, the busy lamp field keys, these are going to light up or be grayed out based off of if that contact is on or off of the phone. You guys can decide who these contacts actually are for each end user. It can be different for everybody if you would choose, or if you want to have a generalized list, you can do that as well. And then up here in the top right-hand corner, you actually see another feature here called status that we'll be going through shortly. So you can see available for Mike and Shay, and then Mike Bradford up here is in do not disturb mode. So we'll be covering that more in the future and how that helps you guys. Wanted to mention that we have a sidecar for the 65. We can stack up to 6 of these together if you'd like, if you have somebody that prefers this layout. But there's actually another feature I'll show you later that's web-based that really removes the requirement for these sidecars. But again, if you prefer this, we do have it available for purchase too. So the last thing, the D80 is our executive level phone. As you can see, it's got a lot of wow features with a 7-inch HD color display. Obviously, these are the farthest from value-based phones. They are our most expensive phones that we have available, but they are really cool. You can put the school logo on here, just like you can with any of the other phones, but it looks really great on this phone especially. And you have all of those other features that we talked about before too, including Bluetooth headset support, the busy landfill keys, gigabit pass-through, all of that good stuff. But enough about physical phones. Let's talk about some cool newer features that you guys might want to use going into the future. And one of those is going to be the desktop soft phone, or really just soft phones in general, because we have 2 different types that I'm going to cover here, the mobile app version and the desktop version that can be installed on your PC or Mac device. So true to the budget-friendly model, Switchvox allows 1 subscription or user license to support up to 5 devices, which means you can actually use your desk phone as one, tack on a desktop-based app like the one you see here on your laptop, and then you can have that mobile-based application as well on your cell phone without incurring any additional charges. Most of our competitors will require an additional license for each of these soft phones, which can get very expensive very quickly. We give you 5 for every user that you have. So what is a soft phone? It's an app that mimics the functionality of a standard desk phone, but you can transfer calls, that type of thing, of course, and see who's on and off of a phone call. But another cool thing you can do is actually transfer calls between your phones. So if I'm taking a call on my desk phone, I can actually move that call over to my mobile app and take the call with me out the door if I have another appointment or something like that that I need to get to. So I'm actually going to pull over my mobile soft phone here in a moment. The screen is blank on purpose because I wanted a nice, easy to see screen here. And as you can see, I am signed into my extension here. It's got Mark Baker 6098. And with this, I have an active phone call going to actually my conference bridge, which is another included feature for you guys. But with this call, I can put it on hold. I can transfer the call. I can merge somebody else in. So I could go to my contacts list here, and I can see actually that Mike is on the phone, and so is Chris. And maybe I need to call Katrina and merge her into this phone call. I can do that too. You can record the call if needed and retrieve it later. Or, of course, you can end the phone call right here. So pretty cool desk phone level features here available in this application. We also have the ability to chat. So you can pop open a chat with anybody. You can create a group chat, and there's actually the functionality of being able to text message too through this platform using our SIP trunking. If you have a premise-based Switchvox, or with Switchvox Cloud, you can just text through the platform as a included feature. So lots of cool stuff here, guys. Of course, if I wanted to dial another phone number, I could easily do that with the keypad there. You can see a call log as well. You've got your voicemail here, of which I don't have any at the moment, which, by the way, you'll get voicemail to email too. And then also you've got a full searchable contacts list. So if I'm looking for Shay again here, I can search for him and find him. This can be internal or external contacts. So one more thing I wanted to note here while we're looking at the soft phone is going to be status. So this is another included feature for you guys too, that anybody can have access to. How you use it is totally up to you, or you can even make it up to the end user and let them decide how they use it too. So status here can actually route your calls wherever you need them to go based off of time of day, or just based off of you changing your status. So for example, if I leave to go on an appointment, I can change myself to available mobile, and any calls that come to my phone number are going to go straight over to my mobile app as opposed to ringing me at my desk phone. But let's say I just want all of my phones to ring at the same time. I can have an available mode that allows all of my phone calls to ring to all of my phones all at the same time. Or if I'm in a meeting like what we're talking about here, I can, or in currently, I can put myself into do not disturb mode, and those can route straight over to my voicemail, and I can get to you later, right? So Status is a really cool tool to be able to route your calls where you want them to go, when you want them to go there. Okay, so that's the desktop soft phone. Another included feature, like we talked about, is the mobile app. Our mobile app is called Sangoma Connect. And we have another app actually called the Switchvox Chat app, which is displayed on the right-hand side. So Sangoma Connect is for calling purposes. You can pull up your quick dial a phone number, merge a call together, or do a transfer, all the things that you normally do on a regular desk phone, just available in this application version. And then from the chat side, you have access to that same chat that we just looked at with the desktop soft phone. You can also SMS message if you have that enabled on there, and you can actually change your status and check your voicemail in a visual voicemail format right here from this chat app. The reason they're separate, by the way, guys, is just to ensure that we deliver a really strong caller experience with the Sangoma Connect app. I want to make sure that the most important part with it is calling, and we want it to sound good, crisp, reliable. So that's why we have these two separate. Didn't want to jam all of those other cool features that you get with Switchvox into just one app. So just know that there are two separate apps for that, those other features, the chat and SMS. So real quick, going back through phone features on physical desk phones. So think back to the physical desk phones just for a minute here. All of those things that we talked about with the soft phones are going to be available on the desk phones as well. Being able to transfer calls, you can move them into a parking lot, you can page the overhead system so you can get to everybody all at once. So lots and lots of features available here. And by the way, this is the D80 on the right, the D6 series on the left. Of course, you've got your contacts and favorites. You can see who's on or off of an active phone call. On the D80 here, you can even have pictures, and you can see all of that displayed out nicely there. You, of course, can set your status on these desk phones as well. So no matter where you are, you can change that status. You've got your voicemail here too, visual voicemail, and can forward voicemails on to other groups of people if needed. And you have that voicemail screening feature that we talked about too, allowing you to listen to voicemails as they're being left. So those are going to be on the desk phones, right? So all those same features on the soft phones as well as the desk phones. You can deploy it however you'd like. So let's do the switchboard demo. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, guys, get a nice blank screen so I can pull over my switchboard. So again, budget friendly, all features included. Anybody that you want to have access to this switchboard layout, which can give you the ability to see multiple groups at the same time, can be deployed. So it's really up to you who gets access to what features. You can have certainly different levels of access for different people. And with this, you can see I've got two active phone calls going on at one time here. I can actually control my switchboard or my phones via the switchboard, which, by the way, this is just web-based, so I can access this from anywhere, even if it's a premise Switchvox system. 3 states away from me, I could still access this. Maybe I'm on travel, work travel, something like that. I can still access this switchboard and control my phone call. So I could merge these two calls together. I could park one of the calls and then retrieve it later from the parking lot. I can also see listed out in a little bit more of a obvious format or a larger format who is actively on phone calls and who isn't. So you can see Mike here is on a phone call. You might notice that there's a little headphone here. This is a training tool that you can enable or disable. You can see here for us that I don't have permissions to listen to his phone calls or pick up his phone calls or that type of thing. But that could be useful for maybe somebody in an executive assistant type role or something like that that needs to field phone calls for a principal or something to that effect. So This is totally customizable, by the way, guys. So I've got it in a edit format where I can change this and make it look totally different. We have also the ability to have queues. This might be more of a IT team thing for education, but if you have multiple people in your IT staff, oops, let me pull up the correct one here. I need to go to queues and queue overview. So if you have multiple people in your IT staff and maybe some people are on call and other people are in meetings, that type of thing, you can essentially see who is doing what within a specific queue, who's fielded the most phone calls, missed phone calls in a live format. You can log in and out of those queues as well right from here too. So this can do a lot more than this, guys. It's just kind of a general overview. Last thing on the right-hand side, of course, you've got your full contacts list there too. So these are just people that I've built into my particular switchboard that I work with frequently. If I want to talk to somebody else in a different business group or even a different school that I don't work with as frequently, I can certainly find them here via search, right? So we'll pick on Shay again. I can easily type his name in there and see him right here and place a call to him. So that's going to be the switchboard feature available. Again, just want to reiterate, available for all users. You can determine what level of access each of your users has. So maybe you want the teachers to have access to this. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want it to be IT and admin staff and the principals or whatever it might need to be. So you decide how you want to deploy this. But again, something you don't have to pay extra for. So from here, I wanted to show the end user portal because we talked about how easy the system is to use. And that's another differentiator for us, or a big thing with a lot of our education customers is a lot of times they're coming from a more legacy system that's very difficult to administrate. You've got to pay somebody a lot of money to come in every time, even if you want to do something as simple as change a name on an extension. So I wanted to display what that looks like here from our side. We have this web-based intuitive admin portal that allows users to actually access certain things like their voicemail, for example. So I can go into features here and see my voicemail mailbox or change my voicemail options. So if I go in here, you can see I've got multiple different greetings added in here, and I can modify when those play, and I can see where my voicemails go, to what email address, and I can even forward voicemails on to other folks. I can actually run reports, and I wanted to show this because it's a pretty cool feature. We can do a lot of detail on reporting. So if I grab a date range, I can run a log on reports here, and you can see who talked to who, how long they talked, how the call routed through the system, all that good stuff, who hung up the call. And then you've got more general reports as well that allow you to run based off of a specific user, by hour of the day, cumulatively, how many phone calls came in or went out or whatever that looks like for that specific user. So again, this is going to be at the end user level. We also have a admin level for the full system, and I'm actually about to bring that over. Looks very familiar or similar. So this is the admin for the full system, and I have the ability to go under setup here, and I have easy to read drop downs for everything, right? So I've got extension management here. I've got my phone settings here that I can modify. I've got call routing as well. So if I have multiple providers, I can route calls through however they need to go. I've got my PBX features like creating automated attendance. That was the, press 1 for this, press 2 for that, or we're closed for inclement weather type menus that you can create. You've got a media area here that allows you to create music on hold or sound managers. So while people are on hold, you can hear whatever, or they can hear whatever message you would like them to hear. You've got your reporting that can be scheduled. So we talked about the different reports that you can pull. Those can be scheduled to run automatically. And then the server side too for backups and updates, and also just basic diagnostics there as well, all available right here. So wanted to go over one of the most commonly requested things, which is Now, how easy is it to move an extension or change an extension, or how easy is it to create a automated attendant? What does that involve? So if I go here to set up and manage extensions, you can see all of the extensions here on this particular instance listed out, and I can filter those by user extensions or by feature extensions like automated attendants, right, IVRs. And let's say I want to filter by user extensions and I want to just see Mike. So I can type in Mike and I can see his extension here. I can log in as that person, or I can click to modify, and I could change this to whatever I need to. So let's say Mike is no longer with the company, or the organization. I can change this to Jeff Smith, update the email, and then hit save, and that now belongs to Jeff Smith, right? Or I can go in and change whatever phone settings, put the company logo here or the school logo here. I can change the ringtone off from here. I can modify permissions as well, so what that person has access to and what they don't, as well as call rules, and assign them to specific groups to make administration even easier. If I go back to this setup page here, you can see we actually have templates to make the creation of extensions even easier. So if I go and try to create a new extension, I can actually create that extension from a template, right? So from the default. Or if I want to create a call queue or directory or something like that, I can easily create that from here as well. So very, very simple to administrate the system. Wanted to mention that from here, you can also set your E911 information so that, like we talked about before, per Kerry's law, if somebody dials a phone number or dials an emergency number or a number that you determine is the emergency number, that could even be to your own security, you can see exactly where that phone call originated from so that those folks can go to the area that they need to be at. Just wanted to mention that too. So other tools here that might be useful for day-to-day administration of the system, the call queues or the IVR, the automated attendant. So if I go to this automated attendant or IVR, interactive voice response is what that stands for, I can see the ones that are built, and these are actually the main ones. You've got sub-menus here as well, and you can see exactly what happens here with this example IVR. So when somebody calls in, this can play during whatever time of day you need it to play, or day of week, or months of the year, right? If it's summertime, you might want it to play totally differently. And in this scenario, it's just an example. So it says, hey, nobody's here to take your call. For customer support, press 1. For sales, press 2. Press star for the menu, and then it waits and listens for options. And if somebody presses one of those, it goes to the second layer, right? So let's say they push for customer support. It would say, nobody's here to take your call. I guess this might be an after hours type menu, and then goodbye. It could also say, hey, leave a message, that type of thing too. So you can create this however you want. It's very easy to modify. You can drag and drop or add new actions in here. So all a visual menu that's very, very easy to administrate. So while we're looking here, we've got a few minutes left. Wanted to show some of the other things that I talked about before. That would be the ability to get contextual help. So play sound, what does that exactly mean? And I have other links here and other information, right? So I can get more information about the specific thing that I am looking at as I go. I also have training too. So if I type in training at Sangoma.com, we have a whole training portal that you have access to, and you can take Switchvox Essentials courses, which is asking me to sign in at the moment, but there's a whole series of courses there that you can take that are going to give you information about the system. That being said, you're not totally on your own with Switchvox. Another cost-saving element of the platform is that it's all features, or I'm sorry, all support included at the 24/7 level too. So if you have an issue, you can open up as many support tickets as you need to with our team. The team is also US based. I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. We've got several support folks here that work with our customers. We've got support folks out in California as well. And we've got some other folks in other areas of the world too. But generally speaking, with Switchvox, it's going to be US-based support unless it's super after hours, 3 o'clock in the morning, that type of thing. Then you talk to somebody offshore, but they are still Sangoma employees. And again, you can have as many support tickets as you want. It's included in the price of Switchvox. You don't have to buy support credits for that platform. So that is about it for today's presentation. I really appreciate everybody joining in and taking a look at how Switchvox can help your particular school system or school. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our team. If you go to our website, you can open up a dialogue with our sales team and they can walk you through any questions or even do a more personalized demonstration of this product specifically or of any of the other products that we talked about, like the video meetings as a service, the SIP trunking, or really anything that we offer. So I encourage you to reach out to our team and discuss it with us if this is something that you're looking at. We hope to hear from you soon. Thanks again for your time.